Welcome to the hardest working committee in the Nevada State Legislature, the Assembly Committee on Government Affairs. Will the Secretary please call the roll?
Assemblyman Carter.
Present.
Assemblyman DeLong.
Present.
Assemblyman De Silva. Assemblywoman Duran. Assemblywoman Gonzalez. Assemblyman Gurr. Assemblyman Hibbets. Assemblyman Koenig. Assemblyman MacArthur. Assemblyman Nguyen. Assemblywoman Taylor. Assemblywoman Thomas. Chair Torres.
Welcome to the audience in Carson City, those joining us in Las Vegas, and those listening over the internet. Just a couple housekeeping items before we get started. Please remember to silence your electronic devices. If you wish to testify, please sign in at the table by the door and provide a business card to the committee secretary. For those joining online, please be sure to mute your microphone when you're not speaking to minimize any background noise. When testifying, please turn on the microphone and clearly state your name, spell your name, and state your affiliation, if any, for the record. Then turn the microphone off each time you are done speaking. Handouts should have already been provided to our committee staff. We expect courtesy and respect in our interactions during the meeting, even if we may not agree with another person's position. Committee members will be using their laptops to view handouts and other documents. Please do not view this as a sign of disrespect or inattention. Public comment will be taken at the end of the meeting. Each person will be limited to 2 minutes. In addition, the public may submit written testimony to the committee up to 24 hours after the hearing. So today we are going to take the bill slightly out of order. I do see that the senator is here, so I'm going to go ahead and start us with SB 155. So at this time, I will go ahead and open up the hearing on SB 155, which revises provisions relating to certain crimes committed by homeless persons. And Senator Orenthal, welcome to the committee. I heard that, I believe you sit on Senate Government Affairs. And I heard yesterday that there was just a drastic error that was made in Senate Government Affairs because they considered themselves the hardest working committee. But welcome to indeed what is actually the hardest working committee in the Nevada State Legislature.
For the record, James Orenthal, State Senate District 21. Thank you, Chair, for hearing Senate Bill 155 today. And, I think there might be a tie between Assembly and Senate Government Affairs as to the level of hard work and diligence and very lot of bills both committees get. So I certainly take my hat off to you, Chair, and to my chair in the Senate. Very hardworking committees. And if that wasn't a politician answer for you, I don't know what is. But I appreciate the committee hearing Senate Bill 155 today. As some of you know, I was born and raised in Las Vegas a long time ago in the early 1970s. And as most of us from Southern Nevada, I think, know, our population of unhoused has increased exponentially, certainly like I've never seen before, and I think like most of us have never seen before. And I know that we have a similar problem in other parts of the state. But Senate Bill 155 is an effort to try to help people get back on their feet, help people find housing, get the services they need, and try to end this cycle of homelessness. With your permission, Chair, got Jared Horn, who's an intern from University of Nevada, Reno Department of Political Science, and he's going to speak to the bill. And then also Lilith Barron from the ACLU of Nevada is here too. There's an amendment on Nellis, which hopefully everyone should have, and I would ask everyone to kind of work off the amendment in addition to the first reprint that came out of the Senate on Senate Bill 155. So with your permission, Chair, if I could turn it over to Mr. Horn, then turn it over to Ms. Barron from the ACLU, and then we've got a member of the judiciary here and a court administrator from Northern Nevada, and then with your permission, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and begin then. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Torres and members of the Assembly Committee on Government Affairs. My name is Jared Horn. I'm an intern for Senator Orenthal with the University of Nevada, Reno for their legislative internship program. I'm here to help introduce SB 155, which was one of the very first bills that I actually learned about when starting the program back about 4 months ago, and I'm very honored to help present it today. SB 155, as stated by my co-presenters, aims to break the cycle of fines and jail time that keep those who can't afford to live in a home on the streets. With that being said, I'd like to turn it over to Lilith Barron, who will be able to elaborate further.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. I'm going to actually go ahead and let the Justice go ahead and give her a presentation about AOT court and the court administrator as well, and then we can walk through the amendment if that seems like the proper order for you, Chair. All right. Thank you.
Yes, I think that would be helpful. And, in the 2019 session, I had the pleasure of serving on the Judiciary Committee, but this committee has not had a lot of these issues covered. So if we could have a surface level as well as in-depth of the bill, obviously, I think that would be very helpful to my members. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Torres, distinguished members of the Assembly. For the record, my name is Cynthia Liu, Cynthia, last name Lu, and I'm honored to address and support SB 155 today. I'd like to give an overview of the Second Judicial District Court's efforts regarding mental health competency. As some of you may know, a large population of the unhoused individuals in our state suffer from a mental illness, which is primarily the reason why they're unhoused. They also end up cycling through our criminal justice system, which often results in requests for competency evaluations. As you also may know, both in Las Vegas and Washoe County, we have limited competency beds available to make these individuals competent to proceed in their criminal matters. In fact, they wait for months in our detention centers until they can get a bed. Oftentimes, these are also misdemeanor crimes, so they are potentially waiting in jail for the length of a 6-month misdemeanor sentence, waiting for a competency evaluation to be able to proceed or not proceed in their competency case. Most of the time, they're found incompetent, and basically their misdemeanor case is dismissed. But meanwhile, they spent probably over 6 months in some type of detention facility until that case is resolved. Recently, our court established the Mental Competency Court that's headed by Judge Egan Walker. He has an agreement from Reno Justice Court, Sparks Justice Court, Sparks Municipal Court, Reno Municipal Court, to basically funnel all of the competency evaluation requests through the Competency Court so that we can coordinate and process them in an efficient manner. Part of that process is that we're having discussions with and trying to work through is either deferring or deflecting these mentally ill individuals out of the criminal justice system, because essentially to a certain degree, mental illness has been criminalized because these individuals are unable to meet their basic needs because of their mental illness. So in that regard, we have several treatment programs available through our court. The specialty courts are all criminal-based, meaning they have a pending criminal charge, which is why they're referred to specialty courts. Mental health court takes charges that range from misdemeanors to felonies. Veterans court is a specialized court that's also headed by Judge Walker, which is why he has a special interest in assisting with the competency court. The assisted outpatient treatment court is a bit different because it's civil-based. You do not need a criminal case to be referred to the civil assisted outpatient treatment program, which is court-ordered outpatient mental health treatment. So what is the assisted outpatient treatment program? Basically, as I indicated, it targets severely mentally ill in our community. These are mentally ill individuals that have repeated incarcerations, usually for low-level offenses like trespassing, disturbing the peace. Those are the most common. And most of the times after they're arrested, instead of being prosecuted, they're placed on a legal hold and transferred to the state hospital for mental health treatment. From there, we often get referrals either from the jail or from the mental health hospital where we essentially petition them to be in an outpatient supervised setting through the assisted outpatient treatment program where they receive intensive case management services. And basically, the goal of the program is to stop the revolving door of incarceration, hospitalization, ER visits, being unsheltered, because we do strive to offer a housing component in our program. It's difficult to have people comply or meet their basic needs without having their basic need of shelter being addressed, which is why this bill is quite significant because it is targeted to assisting those unsheltered individuals. I'd like to, and a lot of times their housing options are limited because they have an eviction record or they don't have finances. Most of these individuals receive Medicaid. They maybe receive a small amount of Social Security income, which is basically $800 a month. And as we all well know, statewide, that is not going to even pay for a month's rent in most places. So they have challenges even to get their own housing, even if they wanted to. The AOT program is through the State Hospital of NAMS. Clark County has one through SNAMS, which is currently overseen by, their hearing officers, Master Claudia Romney, the supervisors, Judge Beta Yeager. Judge Yeager and I are quite kindred spirits regarding the field of mental health and the court assisting with those with mental health needs. And the story I'd like to share with one particular participant I have now is a young individual who's African American. We believe he's in his 20s. He was living in a tent. He was hospitalized and placed on a legal hold. During the hospitalization process, he was mute. We couldn't get much information on him, seeing what his situation was. He didn't have a family of origin to support him. We were informed that his parents had passed away when he was 18, and so that resulted in his homelessness. At the hospital, I encouraged him and referred him to our AOT program, and we got him into a group home, and he is doing fabulous. He's attending all our groups. He's communicating with individuals, sharing his needs. He is doing so well. It's a 180 from when he was found in a tent. So that's just a small example of how this program can really assist individuals with severe mental health that can't meet their basic needs, and really almost just simply having housing was quite significant to this young man. The AOT program is available in any county. Any judge can run an AOT program. Last session, we reduced the need and the criteria to make it easier for any court to run an AOT program. So I know there's been courts in smaller counties interested in spearheading this type of program, so it is accessible to every court, every district court in our state. As you'll see nationwide, that 47 states have enacted AOT programs. Not all of them utilize them, so I'm proud to say that Nevada is a state that has utilized and enacted an AOT program since 2013, first in Clark County and then in Washoe County. As you can see, we obviously have high numbers of mental illness, not enough psychiatric beds for them. There's usually always a wait list, which results in basically our detention centers becoming mental health facilities because these individuals are waiting for a psychiatric bed. In AOT, there's already a criminal diversion statute that was passed in a prior legislative session. Judge Christy Craig was a public defender at the time and promulgated this part of the statute. She actually runs the competency court in Clark County as well. So criminal diversion is that this already for AOT allows defendants charged with gross misdemeanors and felonies to be referred to the assisted outpatient treatment program. This bill simply would allow low-level crimes to have the same opportunity. So this is a post-arrest, so these individuals are still arrested, potentially charged, but pre-sentence, pre-full prosecution, they can be given this opportunity for treatment. If they complete the treatment, then the option is their criminal charge could be dismissed. If they don't complete treatment, then they either would be referred back to the sentencing court for actual sentencing. So this doesn't indicate that this isn't getting an individual, quote, out of what happened, but it is giving them an opportunity to improve their life and actually not re-enter the criminal system at all. So that's really giving an opportunity for these low-level crimes to have the same opportunities defendants with gross misdemeanors and felonies have. The AOT program, as you see, we offer a lot of services. One service I'd like to highlight are our social events. We often have family gatherings in which, you know, when you have a mentally ill individual, they've often burned or exhausted their relationship with their family members. Because their family members have for years tried to assist them, get them the help they need, and the individuals maybe has been resistant until there's been court intervention that forces them to have the treatment. So we try to mend those relationships. In fact, we've been able to have some individuals return to their homes with their parents because the parents have seen get this extra support of the AOT team in their home and to support them as we ensure that their loved one is receiving the treatment that they need. And so then we have these social gatherings to mend those relationships as well. I know when I've attended nationwide AOT symposium, many of the AOT programs especially love that we have these social events that involves family members. Because the ultimate goal is to get them is a warm handoff back to their family, a warm handoff back to the community, where they're voluntarily doing their outpatient and they don't need court intervention. Many of our participants, some of them do work. We offer vocational training, but many don't. I mean, they are very severely mentally ill and they can't hold a job. So what we're especially proud of is they give back to the community by volunteering. So they'll volunteer at animal shelters, they'll volunteer repairing bicycles through bicycle projects. I have one individual volunteering at the Pioneer Center as an usher. So they really give back to the community even if they can't work. So currently, Washoe County's state funded for up to 50 active participants at a time. Clark County is funded for 75 individuals. I think the next slide is quite significant. We compared data in 2019 from a year before the program to the year during the program of 75 consumers in our program, and we saw a 73% decrease of incarceration days. So simply because they received intensive mental health treatment, we were able to keep them out of the jail with a cost savings in just 1 year of $465,000. We also were able to reduce hospitalizations by 61%, which is provided in my written testimony, which is a cost savings of, we calculated it at almost over $900,000 because we reduced the number of hospital days, we reduced the number of times they're in the hospital, and that is strictly just hospital days. We didn't include the cost of saved ER visits, which is often an issue where a lot of these participants end up at the ER because of their mental illness, and we didn't include any savings of court costs and court hearings, public defender savings, district attorney savings for all those court hearings as well. As I indicated before, we have several specialty courts programs in our court. The mental health court in particular has been addresses anywhere from misdemeanors to felonies. It is a holistic approach with multidisciplinary team members, as you can see, where they provide substance use counseling, mental health, case management. All of these programs are just another option for these individuals. Sometimes the first round of treatment is not enough. Sometimes they have to go through a program twice. Sometimes they need a different program that fits their needs better. So our court has recognized the need for a variety of programs because not every individual is cookie cutter. We can't just have one program that addresses every single individual. The Veterans Court, which Judge Walker heads, is also geared specifically toward veterans that often return from serving our country with post-traumatic stress disorder, other issues that triggers mental health needs that need to be met. The Veterans Administration is a wonderful partner in that program with Judge Walker and assists that program. And as you can see, 88% of the graduates have not had any subsequent conviction 3 years following the program. So I believe that in support of this bill, I think I hope I have showed that we can really assist these individuals to not return to our criminal justice system, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Judge Liu. And I think we're going to continue on with the walkthrough of the bill or the amendment, or are we good? Or do you have a question?
I believe Judge Liu has provided a sufficient overview of the court system.
Yes.
Lilith Barron, for the record, ACLU of Nevada. Thank you for hearing that, and thank you, Judge Liu. So the proposed amendment just simplifies the bill a little bit more from the first reprint. Amendment number 1 would be that we were amending section 2 by replacing the entire section with the following: a person charged with a misdemeanor as set forth in section 1 who shows sufficient evidence to establish that the person is homeless may A, be ordered to complete the program of diversion, a specialty court program, assisted outpatient treatment program established through NRS 433A.335, or any other assistance deemed acceptable by the court. B, be sentenced in accordance with NRS 193.150, and that should say C. Not be ordered to pay fines, administrative assessments, or fees related to the charges except otherwise required by statute. Sufficient evidence to establish that the person is homeless is established through proof of recent use of public services for the homeless, written in confirmation from any public or private agency providing services to the homeless, or any other proof of satisfactory to the court that they are homeless. So once again, this is simply removing the fine component, because someone who is experiencing homelessness is very unlikely and most times unable to pay a fine of any kind, and we need to have some other kind of mechanism for them to seek the help that they're needing. Amendment 2 only changes in section 2A. The word has been amended to or has. Going through to skipping to, we have again in section amendment number 3, section 2A, again we've added or has. And again in amendment 4, we've added or has. And then in amendment 5, section B, section 3, part B, part A, we've added or chronic homelessness. I just want to add that in section 5, if you look on the reprint of the bill, there was a list of there is a list of offenses, and this gets rid of that to simplify, and we have worked with law enforcement on that component, just so you're aware that we have come to an agreement that there are some offenses that may not be listed and vice versa, so we want to make sure that we're keeping that expansive and not stifling the court in any way. But I want to just make abundantly clear that the court does have the ultimate decision as far as what happens with this individual. We are not saying that the person gets off scot-free, that they have no consequence whatsoever. If the judge decides that this person is competent and able to, and that it is necessary for them to serve time, then that is what will end up happening. This just allows the court to use these other services that end up showing us less recidivism and saving the state money. If anyone has any questions about amendments, I'd be happy to go through that. Or if I went too fast, I can read through every single one. I just know that you have several bills today. So if anyone else has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started with questions. I know I have quite a few members with questions. I'm going to begin with Assemblywoman and Thomas.
Good morning. Excuse me. Good morning, and thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you for the presentation, Judge Liu. I do appreciate going over some of these details about the court, because then you make it very understandable to all of us. And with my background working in the district court and justice court in the DA's office, I know that these courts are essential to having some vulnerable people be able to have restorative justice. And like I heard, it is not a matter of a slap on the wrist. It's, it's a matter of knowing that you did commit a crime, but there are circumstances above that. But I do have a question about the bill. It's the definition of homeless person, and this is on Section 5, subsection 3C, when it refers to the definition of a person that is homeless, and then it explains that to have regular and adequate nighttime residence with a primary nighttime resident. I'm wondering if that qualifies you as a homeless person. What happens to daytime? I mean, it's a homeless person, so I just want to know why it was defined as nighttime residence.
James Orenshaw, Senate District 21, through you, Chair, to the Assemblywoman. That is language that I believe, when I was originally working on the original version of the bill, we took language, I believe, from a Colorado bill, and that's language we took from that statute. And I was good with that language, but if there's a way to improve it, I'm certainly open to any suggestions to potentially improve that language if you or the committee have that appetite to help me improve that.
Follow-up, Chair, please. It might be just me, but if it is, a consensus that, homeless, a person can be in the daytime, it just looks like, we're referring to it as nighttime. I know that that's not the intent, but I was just wondering if we can change that language.
James Orenshaw, Senate District 21, through you, Chair, to the Assemblywoman. I'm certainly open to anything that would improve the bill. I started off looking at some bills in other states, and I believe that Colorado legislation was what we primarily looked at when we drafted this bill, the original version. So I'm certainly open to suggest amendments to try to improve the language, because I believe this bill has the potential to help a lot of people get on their feet, get the services they need, and I don't want to exclude anyone if there's something in the language that might exclude anyone who should be eligible.
Thank you, and feel free to go directly to members, and I think that's a good point. So I think that the proposed suggestion, just so that we can know, it would just be to eliminate the word nighttime. So who lacks a fixed, regular, and adequate residence, I think would be sufficient to meet the needs of the Assemblywoman.
Chair, James Orenshaw, Senate 21. I think that's a good suggestion, and I appreciate it. That's not one that I caught or that any of my colleagues caught over on the other side. So, thank you.
Thank you. I have a number of other questions. I'm going to go next to Assemblyman Hibbets.
Thank you, Chair. and Thank you, Senator. I actually have a couple questions, if that's all right. I'll make them quick.
And members, I do have quite a few questions today, which is fine, but if you could try to lump in your questions like in one so that it makes it a little bit quicker, that would be helpful. Thank you.
So I'll make two questions into one. Going off this amendment that we have from Nellis, under amendment number 1, you've gotten rid of the word chronic and done homelessness as defined in section 5 of this act, but then when you go to section 5, homelessness is not defined, homeless person is. So that's just a technical thing that we may want to have legal look at. So my actual question is, how many times can a person be eligible for this program?
James Orenshaw, Senate District 21. Assemblyman Hibbets, thank you for the question, and certainly if there's a technical correction to that, I'm open to technical corrections. I envision that if this bill were to pass, that would be at the discretion of the court. The court would decide whether someone would have that option. As to how it's currently happens, Chair, may I, Judge Liu, elaborate? Thank you.
For the record, Cynthia Liu, and to Assemblyman Hibbets through Chair Torres, individuals are not limited just once to the program. We've had individuals go through mental health court more than once, based upon new offenses. In my AOT program, I've had individuals come through more than once because they do really well in the program, and sometimes, an outpatient, they end up not doing as well. Some of the participants age, which creates some dementia issues, and so we do bring them back in the program. So they're not limited. As I was trying, mental health is an ongoing, lifelong issue for these individuals, and they cycle through and cycle out. But really, the more treatment they receive, the better the chances that they don't keep cycling. So they do have multiple opportunities to be in this program. Sometimes the first time in treatment doesn't work. Sometimes the second one does. So we do not bar them from reentering these programs. Thank you.
Since you're still here, of the 75 people that have gone through, if I remember the number correctly, is that 75 individual people or 75 cases, as in are any of those repeats that you're counting as part of the 75?
For the record, Cynthia Liu, to Assemblyman Hibbets through Chair Torres. The 75 participants were individual participants, so they were not repeated participants that we counted. And each participant is their own case. So it was 75 different individuals, to clarify. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Assemblyman Gonzalez.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for the presentation. Good morning. I just had a question about the amendment on number 7, the new language. Is it the intent that they would be transferred to another jurisdiction if that jurisdiction didn't have that specialty court? Or I guess it's just rather a clarifying question on the purposes of number 7 on the amendment. Thank you.
For the record, Lilith Barron, through you, Chair, to Assemblywoman Gonzalez. It is an option, however, not mandated that the person go to another court. If a rural court, for instance, does not have this program, the judge is able to keep them there. However, they're able to send them to another jurisdiction.
Sorry, just a follow-up to that. Is that common? Do we see that happen? Is that something we see happening? And what kind of would that look like?
Good morning. Thank you for the question. Alicia LaRude for the record, A-L-I-C-I-A. Last name is LaRude, L-E-R-U-D. To answer that question, we do have several court programs where we do accept participants from other jurisdictions. So in those cases, it could be it could be another jurisdiction that doesn't have a program, and then we have a defendant who travels to Washoe County to participate in the program. It could also be someone who has an offense from, let's say, Carson City. They picked up a charge in Carson City, that is where the case is, but the defendant is physically located in Washoe County, at which point we work with the court of origin and we do accept those individuals.
Thank you. Assemblyman Koenig.
Thank you, Chair. So in the presentation, and towards the end there said, 88% of graduates did such and such. Which percentage of the people who enter the program actually graduate, and how many just drop out and kind of get lost? Is it mandatory 100% in and graduate, or what do those numbers look like?
Alicia LaRude for the record. Thank you for the question. We do not have that data for you today. We would be happy to pull that data and provide it to you. Our graduation rates, depending on the program, typically exceed 75% of participants.
Thank you.
Thinking quickly, I want to follow up on that question because I had received several emails and I think some of the letters posted that had concerns that, somebody could go through this program, but then they would, if they didn't complete it, like that there was no consequences. And I want to just make it very clear, what are the consequences if somebody doesn't? Like, I mean, obviously there might be people that don't graduate, but what are the consequences of not graduating from the program? Thank you.
For the record, Cynthia Liu to Chair Torres. That's an excellent question. So this is a deferment. This is not a dismissal of the charges. So if they don't complete the program, then they are sentenced on their charge. So this just gives them the opportunity to earn a dismissal of their case. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We'll go next to Assemblyman Nguyen.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I feel bad for the judge, have to go back and forth, because my question is for Judge Liu as well. In terms of the wraparound services that you mentioned earlier, of these different things that the program includes, I noticed that the case management piece, my brain just went to the connection to the community, right? Because this is the individual, once the case dismissed, is going to get sent back to the community. Are there current partnerships with community organizations and or cultural competency training partnership, ensuring that we kind of focus on all of our population and not just some?
For the record, Cynthia Liu to Chair Torres to Assemblyman Nguyen. Excellent question. Yes. So our goal is with our intervention, where they see their psychiatric caseworker at least 3 times a week, is to do a warm handoff to the community. Often we will step down intensive case management to just regular outpatient case management through the state hospital and their regular outpatient treatment program. We also work with many other agencies, including that provide services like Maple Star. We're looking at a partnership with Volunteers of America. So we are trying to ensure that they can have a continuum of services, and it's simply we keep stepping them down, right? So that they need less and less intervention and can be successful on their own.
Great, that's helpful. Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. Assemblyman De Silva.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Senator, and thank you, co-presenters, for bringing forth this legislation. My question is more so for clarification sakes here. So, in your experience, when it comes to dealing with some of our houseless populations, what is like the main infraction that you see? What is the one infraction that comes up in front of our courts over and over again, and how can that inform us in creating better policies to create diversionary programs? Thank you.
For the record, Cynthia Liu to Chair Torres to Assemblyman De Silva. We usually see mostly trespassing, disturbing the peace. I mean, these are quite low-level crimes because, one, they're unhoused, so they're usually on a property that they shouldn't be on. Disturbing the peace is usually, we have individuals that get hospitalized because they're lying naked on the street. Because they're just so mentally ill, they can't even meet their basic needs for even clothing. So those are usually the crimes that I see coming through my AOT program. And so basically this bill supports other low-level crimes where it's maybe just a citation to be able to have these treatment opportunities and really to stop that cycle. So many resources go into these misdemeanor and competency cases on misdemeanors that really a fraction of the cost could be used to just get them treatment. So I hope that answers the question. Thank you.
Thank you. Assemblyman DeLong.
Thank you, Chair. However, Assemblyman Hibbett's already asked my question about the definition of homelessness in subsection 5, I think it was.
Thank you. And Assemblywoman Duran.
Good morning, and thank you for your presentation. Thank you, Senator, for bringing this bill forward. So my concern is what happens with the families? So I know there's families out there, and, the parents may have the issue. What happens to the children and stuff like that if if you will.
For the record, Cynthia Liu, to Chair Torres, to Assemblywoman, or Vice Chair Duran, sorry. Just to clarify the question, are you talking about adult children or children of the mentally ill individuals?
So there are several homeless families on the streets as well. So it can range from, teens down to little ones. Does social services step in, or how does that kind of work with that? Because I know some children have parents that are incompetent or mental issues, or how does that apply?
Yes. So definitely, social services will enter the picture if, it's not really just based on a financial issue, but yes, if the parent is mentally ill, social services will, they'll usually get a referral, investigate. If they feel that that parent can't meet the child's needs due to mental illness, yes, then they will usually step in, take custody of the children, place the children into foster homes, or preferably with relatives, which is always the first preference, and then assist the parent with the treatment plans through the court system, through the Child Protective Services system, to assist to stabilize before the children can return to the parent. So I hope that answers the question. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, any additional questions? It doesn't appear there are any. Thank you. At this time, I'll invite anyone wishing to come testify in support of SB 155. As a reminder to members of the public, everyone will be given 2 minutes to come testify in support of SB 155. In the interest of time, I'm going to allot 20 minutes in support, 20 minutes in opposition, 20 minutes in neutral. So we are going to go ahead and begin with those wishing to testify in support. We'll start. I'll start first in Las Vegas just because I see one person at the table. So go ahead and begin when you're ready.
Thank you. Thank you to the committee and to the sponsors of this measure. My name is Ryan Hamilton. I work at Vegas Stronger, and we provide outpatient therapy and other clinical services to individuals who are suffering from substance use disorder and serious mental illness, with a focus on the homeless population. We're situated within walking distance of more than 2,000 shelter beds and recruit primarily from that population here. We provide a one-stop shop for treatment, case management, transportation, and other services at our facility. We offer several levels of care, including AOT. We have 2 clients in our AOT program right now. I'm here today to advocate for the passage of this measure and the creation of these specialty courts for homeless people who struggle with drug and alcohol abuse, as well as serious mental illness. These courts are a crucial step toward providing necessary help and support for some of the most vulnerable members of our community. Homelessness is a complex issue that is frequently linked to addiction and mental health disorders, especially among the chronically homeless. Many individuals experiencing homelessness have a history of trauma and adverse life experiences that have led to their current circumstances. Unfortunately, without access to proper resources and support, many of these individuals will struggle to break the cycle of addiction and homelessness. Specialty courts are designed to provide an alternative to traditional court systems and a way to break the cycle of addiction and mental illness that keeps many locked in the brutal cycle of homelessness. These courts will direct people to a place where individuals can actually heal and address the root cause of their homelessness, which is typically addiction and mental health disorders. By providing specialized support and guidance, these courts help individuals address the underlying issues that are typically driving their problems. These courts will direct individuals to the services they need to get on the back on the path to social stability, access to treatment, housing, employment, and other necessary resources that can help individuals get on their feet and become contributing members of society once again. It's also clear that this is better than the current situation, which doesn't really do much of anything. With this, we can get people on the path to social stability, and it also provides a clear savings to taxpayers to divert these people away from the resources that they're currently using. In conclusion, I urge you to support the establishment of these courts for homeless individuals. These courts are an important step towards providing the necessary help and support for some of the most vulnerable members of our community. Together with measures like these, we can break the cycle of homelessness
Thank you, and if you could please
addiction
wrap up your testimony. Thank you.
and help individuals lead healthy and productive lives. I'm done. Thank you.
We'll come back here to Carson City.
Good morning, Chair, members of the committee. Erica Roth, ERICAROTH, on behalf of the Washoe County Public Defender's Office, testifying in support of SB 155. I want to read a quote by Brian Stevenson, who's a civil rights attorney, and he said that proximity has taught me some basic and humbling truths, including this vital lesson. Each of us is more than the worst thing we've ever done. My work with the poor and the incarcerated has persuaded me that the opposite of poverty is not wealth. The opposite of poverty is justice. And the true measure of our commitment to justice, the character of our society, our commitment to the rule of law, fairness, and equality, cannot be measured by how we treat the rich, the powerful, and the privileged. The true measure of our character is how we treat the poor, the disfavored, the accused, the incarcerated, and the condemned. SB 155 is a very pragmatic way to take us one step closer to justice for individuals who are experiencing homelessness. I want to be very clear that this is not a get out of jail free card. An individual who is arrested is going to go through the same process that they would whether or not this law is put into place. It just ensures that they are required to get and be offered some programs that are going to help break that cycle, and to not impose on them fines that are going to keep them from getting back on their feet or otherwise paying restitution if that's required. A victim will still be notified if one exists. It doesn't otherwise change the legal process. It just ensures that individuals who are experiencing homelessness are going to be offered and provided the resources that they deserve to have and that we should be giving them. And so with that, I do offer my support this morning. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Torres and members of the committee. My name is Veronica Lopez, Veronica Lopez. I am the court administrator with the Reno Municipal Court, and we are in support of SB 155 because of what it is proposing to offer to the population of our community. I would like to provide this committee with a brief overview of the service Reno Municipal Court is offering through the community court program and the value that it offers to the community. The Reno Municipal Community Court has been in existence for 4 years and serves Reno's most vulnerable homeless population. As of December 2022, Community Court has served 487 individuals and 30% have received housing assistance. The homeless issues are vast and complex. Each individual has an individualized circumstance as to why they are homeless and what continues to keep them in the cycle of homelessness. More often than not, individuals who are homeless, cycling in and out of our justice systems, are suffering from substance abuse and mental health disorders, and historically the system has offered little to no solutions to serve this population in a meaningful way. The traditional court process, which includes jail time, fines, and other sanctions, have proven to be ineffective. Reno's Community Court takes a problem-solving and community-focused approach in addressing nonviolent, quality-of-life misdemeanor crimes using a treatment-centered approach. Community Court focuses on connecting individuals with immediate community resource providers. Every Wednesday, Community Court is held at the downtown Reno Library and engages with as many as 30 different community social service providers. The only way to attempt to intervene the cycle of homelessness is to make immediate on-site connections with the individuals to assist with their needs, such as Medicaid, SNAP, IDs, Social Security, both birth certificates, temporary, transitional to permanent housing.
And ma'am, if you could begin to wrap up your testimony, thank you.
I'm sorry?
If you could wrap up your testimony, thank you.
Okay. These community resources providers are available not only to the defendants, but anyone in the community. Individuals do not need to be cited into our program to receive these resources. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Chair Torres and committee members, my name is Andrew Lee Pilbett. I'm the state chairman of the United Veterans Legislative Council. Another element in SB 155 is the Veterans Treatment Court, our military court, something that's been highly successful in the last decade. It is a high priority with our veterans in this state and our active military. And what may not be known is a significant part of the Veterans Treatment Court in this state is our fellow veterans are the mentors. What happens with every single one of these veterans that gets to the court is they are at some point assigned a fellow veteran that's not in the court but there is a mentor. And that's a significant part. I actually know one mentor in Clark County that's now been doing this for 10 years, serving our fellow veterans. So of the 279,000 veterans in our state and then our active military, we sometimes forget that our military, we've done something to them we haven't done ever. Is we have Guards member and active military members that have done deployments in war zones 5, 6, 7, 8 times, and we want them to be normal with their families and friends when they get home. Veteran Treatment Court is a critical element to serve our veterans and military in the state, and we're in support of a SB 155.
Good morning, Chair Torres, Vice Chair Duran, members of the committee. My name is Cynthia Esparza, the Chief Equity and Community Relations Officer for the City of Reno. Addressing this community issue is complex, and I appreciate your time and opportunity to provide testimony in support of SB 155, as I believe it will add an additional pathway for those in need. In my role, I work closely with the Northern Nevada Regional Partners as we respond to matters related to the unsheltered community and also manage the city's Clean and Safe program. This program provides outreach and services to the unsheltered community while also providing clean, safe, and equitable access to public spaces. This is a fine balance as our team ensures there is equity in maintaining a fair quality of life for all Reno residents. As an organization, we have also implemented a city walk team where we assess concerns and identify solutions throughout the city of Reno. And this also includes expediting services to the unsheltered population and other vulnerable communities. Building positive relationships and trust is paramount as we continue to increase efforts to provide sustainable life transitions through these initiatives. We are and will remain committed to these efforts, but also acknowledge that our outreach model may not work for us. For that reason, through the Clean and Safe program and City Walks, referrals to the City of Reno's Community Court program is imperative. Community Court provides the unsheltered community access to many essential services under one roof and is a diversion model to follow. We believe SB 155 provides an additional tool to connect individuals to programs that will meet their needs and removes punitive consequences for certain infractions while helping address core issues, housing needs, mental health, substance abuse, or simply finding oneself in a dire situation. SB 155 provides an avenue to further augment diversion programs in a safe space, which can lead to real solutions. And with that, I will conclude my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. And we do have people on the phone, so I'm going to go ahead and go to the phone and take 4 calls on the phone, and then I'll come back here. If we could go to the phone, BPS, is there anyone wishing to testify in support of SB 155?
Callers, if you would like to testify in support of SB 155, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. One moment, Chair.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Giselle Ozuna, Jazielozuna. I'm an organizer with the Progressive Leadership Alliance of Nevada here in support of SB 155 to create a ability to pay assessment for people experiencing homelessness. At PLAN, we believe that we must create resilient communities that make a way for all people to thrive in dignity. Community members like myself have worked to make this a reality by practicing mutual aid, like warm food distribution and sharing winter clothing with our neighbors. I met a man who had fallen, fractured his back. He had a brace and a walker when released from the hospital, and he had nowhere to go. Homelessness is a reality for too many Nevadans. Further criminalizing homelessness with fines only makes it harder for people to maintain stable and affordable housing. We need a law to prioritize things like housing first policies, increasing access to healthcare. SB 155 is a common sense measure that complements other pieces of legislation before this body. We urge you for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller. And just a reminder to anybody else wishing to testify, please feel free to say ditto so I can get through more folks. Next caller, BPS.
Good afternoon, Chair and committee members. My name is Jessica Munger, Munger, and then today I'm just here representing myself. I'm in strong support of SB 155 and just want to remind us that most of us are one missed paycheck away from being unhoused ourselves, and that those who live outside in our communities are our neighbors and constituents as well. I appreciate your consideration and truly appreciate the effort to bring this forth.
Chair, members of the committee, Jonathan Norman with the Nevada Coalition of Legal Service Providers, NORMAN. we're in support of SB 155. I've seen the power of specialty courts in Las Vegas with youth that we represent in the child welfare system, and it always leads to better outcomes for our community. And to Vice Chair Duran's question about the interface of the child welfare system and families when they're homeless, I think these type of specialty courts will dovetail really well with case plans developed in child welfare to get the family reunified. So I appreciate this bill and thank you for your time.
Good morning, Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Will Pregman, representing Battleborn Progress. We stand in support of SB 155. This bill, as amended, would create a new avenue for divisionary and specialty court programs for people experiencing homelessness who are charged with a criminal offense. The Nevada way should not be trying to incarcerate our way out of every problem. It should be about making sure every Nevadan is taken care of and that the most vulnerable aren't left without hope or options. We thank Senator Orenshaw for bringing this bill and urge your support. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to go ahead and come back to Carson City for testimony, and then we'll go back to the phone if we have time. Those here in Carson City, please begin.
Chair Torres, distinguished members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. my name is Christy Holderegger, Christie, last name Holderegger, Holderegger. I'm the president and CEO of VOA Northern Nevada. I'm responsible for the operations of over 40 programs that provide housing and services to those struggling with homelessness and mental health, many who are seniors and veterans. I support this bill. In my 32 years experience, I know that providing access to mental health services is the key to helping people move from devastating homelessness to independence. This bill begins that process. Through dignified housing and intensive supportive services that address mental health, our community members can achieve their full potential. Individuals like Armand, at the age of 35, couldn't live more than 3 months in a boarding care facility. He cycled in and out of jail and the streets for over 18 years, but with supportive services, housing, behavioral health, and the opportunity to build community, he thrived. In fact, with the support, he went to school, graduating from college with a bachelor's in psychology. He is a productive member of our community and gives back to our state. Currently, VOA is attempting to purchase the Highway 40 motel in Reno to house those who are struggling on the streets, people who are in various courts like Judge Liu's Assisted Outpatient Treatment Court. These programs save lives. They help our neighbors address significant illnesses, which helps them get off the street, and that is good for individuals, businesses, and the public. To the extent you can also fund these critical programs, if money is available, that would be much appreciated. Thank you for your time. I'm available for any questions.
Good morning. My name is Juliana Glock, Julianna for the record. Chair Torres and distinguished members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to be here this morning. I am the Operations and Compliance Director for Volunteers of America, and I am responsible for the programs in Washoe County. I am in support of this bill. In my 17 years of experience at Volunteers of America, I know that providing access to mental health is the key to helping those who are suffering from mental illness, and this bill begins that process. One of my first memories of watching someone who stabilized from his mental illness and homelessness was Sean. He left home when he was 17 and lived under the Rock Boulevard underpass in Sparks, Nevada for almost 2 years until our outreach case manager was able to build trust and engage with him. He had several misdemeanor charges around trespassing and loitering, and he was referred to mental health court and ordered to services. He received medication management through a psychiatrist and regular therapy, as well as intensive case management. He was successfully housed and able to stay out of jail. After some time, he gained stability and was able to maintain his mental health independently. He currently receives his ongoing mental health services through NAMS, including monthly injections. Sean has received a Humanitarian of the Year award for his volunteerism at Habitat for Humanity and is a certified peer support specialist. Without programs like the Mental Health Court or AOT, the supportive housing, he would not have been able to achieve stability and reunite with his family. These programs are the difference between life and death. My daughter, Aurora, passed away at the age of 20 from complications of her diabetes. She was not able to manage her diabetes independently due to her mental illness of bipolar and borderline personality disorder. We tried to access services for many years, however, they were not available to my daughter.
Ma'am, if you could begin to wrap up your testimony.
Services like the AOT program could have saved her life. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. At this time, we are going to go ahead and conclude support testimony. I understand that there might be some additional callers on the line. If you're wishing to testify in support, please make sure you submit your comments to our committee staff. But at this time, we are going to go ahead and move into opposition for SB 155. I do not see any here in Carson City. Oh, we do. Okay, when you're ready, you may begin. If there's anybody in Las Vegas, please approach now as well. When you're ready, you may begin.
Thank you, Chair Torres, and good morning, members of the committee. My name is Jennifer Noble, and I represent the Nevada District Attorneys Association. I am trying my best to keep up with the amendments. The concern I'm about to raise may be based on language that I don't understand in today's amendment, so I apologize if that's the case. But as a Washoe County prosecutor, I know that Judge Liu and Judge Walker do wonderful, effective, and important work in their specialty courts. However, there are provisions specifically relating to the encouragement of pre-prosecution diversion. Pre-prosecution diversion is wherein a person does not have to enter a plea of guilty or no contest prior to receiving the benefits of the diversion program. So if they are unable to successfully complete diversion, and we hope that they will be, the case essentially has to start over because there is no plea in place. We believe that the presence of a plea of guilty or no contest prior to entry to a diversion court helps encourage folks to understand that they really need to stick with it and try their best to get through the program. So on that basis today, pursuant to rules of the committee, we are in opposition, but we do appreciate the policy and all the work that these courts do, and we hope to come to consensus soon. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, is there anyone else wishing to testify in opposition to SB 155 here in Carson City? I don't see any. BPS, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify in opposition to SB 155?
Callers, if you would like to testify in opposition to SB 155, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to provide opposition testimony at this time.
At this time, I'll invite, and I will note, I don't see anyone in Las Vegas wishing to testify in opposition to the bill. At this time, I'll invite anyone wishing to testify neutral to SB 155. I don't see any here in Carson City. I don't see any in Las Vegas. BPS, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify neutral to SB 155?
Callers, if you would like to testify neutral for SB 155, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, there are no callers choosing to provide neutral testimony at this time.
Thank you. At this time, I'll go ahead and invite the bill sponsor for any quick closing remarks.
Chair, members of the committee, thank you so much for your time today. James Orenshall, Senate 21. I just got some data, actually, from the Administrative Office of the Courts as to therapeutic diversion programs all over the state, statewide, that 91.8% of graduates in a 2018 study had no new convictions within 3 years, and then 81.3% of the folks who did not graduate from the diversion programs also did not have a conviction within 3 years. So I think we've got a lot of data that our therapeutic diversion court programs are very successful in the state and really help people deal with mental health issues, substance abuse issues. I believe that if Senate Bill 155 passes and programs like what Judge Liu is doing here in the northern part of the state, what we've got Judge Yeager and Judge Craig down south. I believe that this can expand statewide. It can grow. More people can get the services they need and find housing and land on their feet. With your permission, Chair, if I could turn it over Judge Liu and Ms. Barron.
For the record, Cynthia Liu, Chair Torres, and distinguished members of the hardest working committee in the Assembly. I just wanted to clarify and add as a closing remark that the language through this bill says may. It doesn't say shall. It doesn't say must. It says may. So there's always the option. There has to be room for the person in the program. The person has to be eligible for that program. So I just wanted to clarify that. And I, again, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chair and members of the committee. Lilith Barron, Lilithbaran, with the ACLU of Nevada. I just want to leave you with one number, and that's 435, and that's how many people experiencing homelessness died this in 2022 due to exposure to the elements, whether it be too hot or too cold. Over 200 in Clark and in Washoe. And I strongly believe that measures like this could save lives. I know that they could, and I hope that you take those lives into consideration when you make your final votes. Thank you very much for hearing this today and for your time.
Thank you, and thank you for the presentation. And, you know, I'll just note before we close the hearing, too, if I look forward to continuing to work with you. I think that we would like a little bit of clarification on the amendment as well. So I know we'll circle back ahead of next week's deadline. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, committee.
Thank you. And I will note we're the hardest working committee in the legislature, not just the assembly. And with that, we can close the hearing on SB 155. And we will go ahead and go on, and we'll kind of resume order, and just in case the senator's office is watching, we'll go ahead and open the hearing on SB 22, which revises provisions relating to the publication of legal notices. And then after that, we will be followed with SB 323. When you're ready, we may begin. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Torres, members of the Assembly Committee on Government Affairs. For the record, my name is Vincent Guthrow. Last name is spelled Gutreau. First name is Vincent, Vinson. I serve as the Executive Director of the Nevada Association of Counties, and thank you for the opportunity to present Senate Bill 22 this morning. In its first reprint, on behalf of NACO,
we're going to close the door, I think. Apparently the cities they're just loud folk.
Yeah, fair enough. So thank you for the opportunity to present Senate Bill 22 in its first reprint on behalf of NACO, whose members are all 17 of Nevada's counties. I'm here to present Senate Bill 22. I do know there is a friendly amendment that was sent to the committee. I won't necessarily be working off of that, but I do know it was submitted by the Press Association, Nevada Press Association, and they are, my understanding, in Las Vegas. So if you have questions for them on that, it's just a technical amendment that didn't make it in on the Senate side, and we do consider it a friendly amendment, and actually I think it's helpful to the bill. So this bill passed unanimously out of the Senate, and it reflects large stakeholder engagement by NACO to the Nevada Press Association, who represents our best faith effort at addressing the concerns of these critical stakeholders. And should this bill be passed and local government were to utilize this option, the bill as presented would add additional mandate to local government, but we do believe this is a good agreement. NACO views SB 22 as a modernization of the law that requires posting of ordinances and legal notices by local government in accordance with Nevada law. Our members believe in transparency, but simply put, the requirement to meet the posting of notices solely via a paper of circulation has gummed up the wheels of local government and ultimately the people's business. For instance, in Carson City, which is the state's only consolidated municipality, they have only one current paper of circulation, and as papers shift deadlines and rely more on online delivery of our news, we believe this proposal allows local governments the ability to continue to publish notices, like I said, in accordance with the law, and to make sure that the public will have access to local government information. One example of problematic deadlines, again, comes from Carson City, and I'll share this with the committee. It's the same example that I provided in the Senate hearing during the initial bill hearing. For instance, reserving ad space by the Monday following the Thursday board meeting allows for a Wednesday publication, but that doesn't give us the full 10-day noticing period before the board may consider an ordinance on second reading. This pushes the second reading to the following meeting, and issues with this timing arise when the board directs substantial changes to be made during the first reading of an ordinance, and there is not enough time to bring a revised draft back to the board of supervisors in Carson City. That would be the required period to adopt an ordinance while simultaneously complying with all of the noticing periods, ad space reservation deadlines set by the newspaper of circulation. This results in a proposed ordinance having to be resubmitted to the board on first hearing and ultimately starts the process from the beginning. This has caused local government undue delays in adopting an ordinance and hampers the legislative powers of the Board of Supervisors. Again, under the proposed legislation, local governments would still need to publish in the paper of circulation, but they could meet the NRS imposed deadlines by posting in an online source. This is the issue and the solution that we're proposing with the modernization of this statute. We've incorporated, like I said, some suggested changes into this first reprint that came to us from the Press Association. And I just want to be clear for the committee, our intent is not to have online publication of a notice be the sole replacement of the publication of a notice in a paper of circulation. We are not circumventing any noticing requirements or government transparency laws. If anything, local government is adding to the posting of notices should they choose to utilize this option. Chair, I'm happy to walk through the bill briefly for the committee, and then I'm happy to take questions. So this bill proposes changes to NRS 238.030. So if you look in section 1, subsection 1, this is conforming language to allow the enabling language that allows for the posting of the legal or public notice and the requirements by the newspaper for posting. If you look at remain in section 1 and subsection 2, this language sets the parameters for legal or public notices published via a website or online source to have the same information as a printed publication and requires the newspaper to include information regarding the state or local government's address and telephone number. This allows an individual, so if they want to request a hard copy of the notice from the government agency or entity, they would know who to reach out to. Under subsection 3, we provide a technical update to current law so that as long as the entity seeking the notice submits this to the publisher, that the governmental agency is not responsible for any technical deficiencies and that submitting the notice as long as correct by the submitting agency would satisfy the requirement for posting. Basically, what this is we can't be held liable for technical issues, right? If the website goes down or it's not continuously posted, we still consider it a posted notice. The changes to section 1, subsection 5 provide for the enabling language under this statute to allow for the publication of notices and that either medium would meet the legal requirement for posting. Section 3 makes the conforming changes regarding disruptions or deficiencies that are out of the control of those submitting the notice for posting. That's sort of the meat of the bill. Again, NACO's has been engaged extensively with stakeholders on this issue in the interim and during session. We believe that our goal of allowing governments to operate efficiently, should this bill pass, is reflected in local government adding to publication options and not replacing paper publication options. So again, I'm happy to stand for questions at this time. That's the crux of the bill. Thank you for allowing me to testify.
Thank you. At this time, before we take questions, I'm going to go ahead. I think actually Ms. Dempsey might be there if you wanted to go ahead and walk through the amendment.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Chair and members of the committee. And thank you, Vincent. I want to first say, of course, I appreciate NACO. We have been working on this bill for quite some time, and they've been really open to a lot of our concerns and questions. So I greatly appreciate the efforts. Basically, this friendly amendment that we submitted is just a changing of a word. So there's about 8 or 9 areas within the bill that we use the word published instead of circulating. So for example, on page 2, line 7, it says required to be published, which newspaper if published. So because a lot of newspapers actually aren't printed within the same county or may not even be printed in Nevada, we do include that circulated language to be sure it covers the local government entity. We've already found that in some scenarios, a government has been challenged because of the language of published rather than circulated. And so the question of the government meeting the notification has been questioned. So that is the purpose of the friendly amendment, and we're hoping that that can be adopted.
Thank you. And I had some conversations with legal ahead of this meeting, and so I wanted to go ahead and see, I know Mr. Killian is on the call as well. If you can go ahead and just talk about some of the impact of the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Asher Killian, Committee Counsel. So this was actually a component of the amendment submitted in the first House, and consistent with the intent of the committee in the first House. We omitted this change in drafting because based on our research, the term publication is actually a broader term that embraces publication not only on a physical document, but also online and in other means. Whereas circulation is generally a term that is tied to physically producing a thing that is then distributed within a place. So changing from notice by publication to notice by circulation, we believe would actually have the effect of tying this directly to having printed newspapers distributed physically within particular counties, as opposed to allowing for publication, which can include publication online. And part of the basis for our opinion is the opinion of the Nevada Supreme Court in Butler versus Lahontan Valley News, where the Supreme Court actually interpreted what it meant to be printed in whole or in part within a county. And it interpreted the terms as broadly as possible to include not only the physical production of a newspaper within a county, but rather any work in furtherance of the publication or printing of a newspaper, including not only typesetting, but also doing any work on headlines or producing pictures or preparing page layouts, or generally reporting on news that takes place within a county. So I think we understand the Press Association's concern on this terminology. But we believe that this friendly amendment would not be necessary because it would actually change the language in a way that would be contrary to their intent, given the Supreme Court's past opinions on this topic. And we're hopeful that clarifying this matter on the record before the committee would build the necessary legislative history to indicate that it is the legislature's intent that publication be interpreted broadly enough to include publication not only on a physical piece of paper, but also publication online. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And I guess I will direct that as a question to sponsors and the amendment to Ms. Dempsey. I think it is the intent that that publication would be applicable to that posted online as well as those that are circulated. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee, and thank you for that clarification. I think as long as we have that legislative intent and it's been explained in that way and we have that history now, we should be covered. So I appreciate it.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, Vincent Guthrow, Executive Director of NACO. Thank you for the explanation, and if they're okay, we're okay. So thank you.
Thank you. And I guess I would ask Mr. Killian if it would be more appropriate to just make that clear too. We could add that as a definition into the bill, correct? And just put the publication as it applies to this part of the NRS is to mean publication, and make it very specific, because I don't want to get into every chapter that has the word publication, but but publication would mean that posted on the internet as well as that is circulated. Would that be possible?
Thank you, Madam Chair, Asher Killian, Committee Counsel. So we certainly could consider an amendment to add that kind of a definition. My only caution would be that by moving from the general meaning of the term as it has generally been interpreted by the Nevada Supreme Court to that specific definition, it could potentially narrow the interpretation to only the language that's included in the definition versus the broader meaning that the court has given to that term so far. So there might be some danger that the court would take that as legislative intent to narrow the definition rather than to apply it as broadly as the court has applied it so far.
Okay, thank you. And then we'll continue this part of the conversation offline just to make sure, but I do think it helps that the legislative intent has been made clear on the record right now. Thank you. Members, any additional questions? It doesn't appear that there's any additional questions at this time. Thank you. I appreciate it. At this time, I'll invite anyone wishing to testify in support of SB 22. When you're ready, you may begin.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Stephen Wood, for the record, today representing both the Nevada League of Cities and Municipalities and Carson City, the consolidated municipality that the sponsor of the bill brought up in his presentation. We support the bill and thank NACO for bringing the bill forward. We support the flexibility that it offers as far as timing, which he described, as well as making sure that we continue to give the public proper noticing, and now in an additional format, and one that we feel that most of our residents actually use. So thank you for hearing the bill, and we encourage your support.
Nick Ciccone, City of Reno, ditto.
Leo Benavides, City of North Las Vegas, second ditto.
Good morning, Chair Torres, members of the extremely diligent Assembly Government Affairs Committee. We want to thank NACO for bringing this well-balanced legislation that will help ensure transparency and expand options for keeping the public informed about important discussions and actions taking place at the local government level. As the technology continues to evolve, we have seen new avenues emerge that provide innovative ways to reach out to all generations of Nevadans who may have an interest in public policy discussion and decision-making. I'm thinking, of course, of the TikTok stars on the dais before me, who have used a digital platform to keep their constituents informed of the hard work undertaken by the Assembly Government Affairs Committee. This bill is a great step in the same direction when it comes to using the internet for public notices. Thank you.
Thank you. And just for the record, we would have been fine with the third ditto. Is there anyone in Las Vegas wishing to testify in support of SB 22? I don't see any. BPS, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify in support of SB 22?
Chair, the line is open and working, but there are no callers choosing to provide support testimony at this time.
Thank you. At this time, I will invite anyone wishing to testify in opposition to SB 22. I do not see any here in Carson City. I do not believe there is anyone in Las Vegas. BPS, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify in opposition to SB 22?
Chair, there are no callers choosing to provide opposition testimony at this time.
Is there anyone wishing to testify neutral to SB 22? I do not see any here in Carson City. I do not see any in Las Vegas. BPS, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify neutral to SB 22?
Chair, there are no callers choosing to provide neutral testimony at this time.
Thank you. I'll invite the bill sponsor for any closing remarks. It looks like we're good. And we will close the hearing on SB 22. 1 minute recess. The Assembly Committee on Government Affairs will reconvene. Assemblyman MacArthur, are you ready? He's ready now. At this time, I'll go ahead and open up the hearing on SB 323, which revises provisions relating to peace officers. Welcome, Senators. This is your first time, I believe, in the Assembly Committee on Government Affairs this cycle. We're the hardest working committee, so when you're ready, get started.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Senator Heidi Sievers-Gansert. I represent Washoe County, pretty much the west side of Reno and a bit of the northern areas. I'm very pleased to be here today to present Senate Bill 323, and I have a couple of folks with me. Deputy Director Wickham is with me, and I didn't.
Lieutenant Bennu Clark, head of Training Division, for the record.
Okay, and Lieutenant Clark helped in the last hearing that we had too. And so this bill is around reciprocity for Category 3 police officers. So as I'm sure you know, we have critical staffing shortage in our prison system. The Assembly Committee on Judiciary, there was testimony the other day, it's been a few weeks ago now, in the Assembly Committee on Judiciary that critically low prison staffing is the #1 issue facing the entire system. At a time when the prison population is growing, staffing is declining, which creates a significant safety issue for employees and prisoners of the system. And when we had the last hearing, the numbers that we had were that there was a 48% vacancy rate at the Ely State Prison and a 46% vacancy rate at Lovelock. One strategy for the department is to seek workers from other states such as California, where some folks are retiring and some have been laid off. Senate Bill 323 provides a mechanism to reduce barriers to recruit and attract qualified prison staff from other states. It requires the Police Officers Standards and Training Commission, so POST, to adopt regulations to establish standards for reciprocity of a person from another state or the federal government with a certification or law enforcement training equivalent to a Category 3 police officer. Under Nevada Revised Statutes 289.480, a Category 3 peace officer includes those whose authority is limited to correctional services, including the superintendents and correctional officers of the Department of Corrections. And POST is the organization that does all the certification, and so instead of coming up with what that reciprocity would look like, we thought the best thing to do would be just to point to POST so they can create those standards. So and what I want to do is go ahead and turn it over to the Deputy Director and Lieutenant for any more comments. Thank you.
All right, good morning to the hardest working committee in the legislature today. For the record, my name is Harold Wickham, W-I-C-K-H-A-M. I am the Deputy Director for the Nevada Department of Corrections. And in a nutshell, in short, to keep it brief, ditto. This is exactly what the agency needs, or one of the many tools that the agency could use to help to recruit our very, very short staff issues. This would apply to Category 3 peace officers from other states and give them the opportunity to work in our state at a much shorter process to get through. They wouldn't have to go through the entire academy, just catch up on the current policies for the great state of Nevada. But their certifications would hold reciprocity through the state of Nevada. Again, this is something that peace officer standards and training would create this mechanism for reciprocity. I thank Senator Sievers, Senator Gansert, and Senator Hansen for bringing this bill forward and believe that it will certainly help in our staffing shortages. Again, thank you very much.
Lieutenant Benu Clark, for the record, C-L-A-R-K. Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a mechanism which will add another tool in our workbox to recruit some qualified folks to come into the Department of Corrections and assist us in our critical staffing shortages, something that the training division and the majority of our staff wholeheartedly support. Thank you.
Thank you. And does that conclude your testimony? Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having such an efficient presentation. We appreciate that. At this time, members, any questions? I believe it's Assemblyman Thomas. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Senator, for bringing this forward to the hardest working committee in the state legislature. Just saying. But my question actually has to do with clarification. And I know it might sound silly, but Section 1, 7, your addition to the bill. When we say another state, we just, for clarification, we are referring to United States, the nation states.
Thank you. For the record, Senator Heidi Sievers Gansert to the chair. Yes, United States. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. I know that other countries consider their states also, so I just wanted to have that clarification on the record. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblyman Carter, and then Assemblyman DeLong.
Good morning. My concern is we see a lot of efforts from everywhere to poach employees from surrounding states and other states. What are the efforts being done? Are we having the same type of energy put into workforce development? You know, I see a lot of young people in my community, the east side of Las Vegas, that really don't feel that these positions are open to them coming out of high school and stuff. What are we doing to try to take and keep these jobs for Nevadans and take care of the citizens of our state first?
Through the chair to the honorable member, Harold Wickham for the record. What we're doing currently is we're working on a very robust recruitment effort. Prior to COVID, we did fairly well in recruitments. Since COVID, we have been struggling. So we're reaching out not only to our great state, but also to other entities, and we're planning, sir, to do that with many different types of media, internet postings and things like that. And of course, we are including the requirements that Post currently requires, which is currently age 21, high school diploma or a high-set diploma to work for the agency. And then, of course, we go into mental and moral background to ensure that we're getting the proper candidates. I hope that answers your question, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, one concern, are we making sure that those quote-unquote mental and moral standards are actually culturally appropriate, and we're not excluding whole demographics because of our traditional narrow understanding of those standards?
Thank you for the question. Through the chair to the honorable member. To the best of my knowledge, yes, sir. This goes through Post or Peace Officer Standards and Training Division. They set the requirements for this.
Thank you. And I definitely think that's something to look into and a conversation that can continue to be had, although it doesn't necessarily have to pertain to this piece of legislation. Assemblyman DeLong.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to follow up on the Assemblywoman's comment about subsection 7, the word other state. Would it also include tribal members, tribal police officers?
Through the chair to Assemblyman DeLong, Lieutenant Clark for the record. Yes, sir. Anybody who maintains that, who has that current peace officer certification, what we're asking Post to do is develop those reciprocity standards so that we can utilize that as a mechanism to bring those folks over should they choose.
Just, my issue wasn't on the peace officer standard, is more of, does the term other state also include tribal, which are considered other nations?
It's my understanding, Assemblyman, that those are considered federal officers. So yes, that's absolutely included in that language.
And I'm going to go ahead and see if Mr. Killian might have a response, and he might not right now. But Mr. Killian?
Thank you, Madam Chair, Asher Killian, Committee Counsel. So this language doesn't specifically reference tribal police officers, but to the extent that tribal police officers have completed federal training, they would be embraced in this language. Also, I would note that this bill sets a floor for what the regulations of the commission must include. It does not set a ceiling. So if the commission, as it considers this issue and considers the intent of this legislation, concludes that its regulation should also include specific provisions for tribal police officers, it would still be free to do so.
Thank you. Any follow-up? We're good. Assemblyman Hibbets. Oh, we got our answer. Members, any additional questions? Assemblyman Nguyen.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Senator, for bringing this forward. I just want to make sure we put this on record. What is the time frame differences between someone that have to go through the actual training and then this piece? What kind of time frame we would save if someone would have gone through this training?
Through the Assemblywoman to Assemblyman Nguyen, Post currently has in NRS a standard that says less than 5 years. So as long as the individual has been employed within the last 5 years, then they would be able to qualify under that and maintain their Post standards. But that would be further developed by Post when they work on those reciprocity standards.
Thank you for the record, Senator Hardy C. for Skanska. Were you asking how much time to get someone up and working? So I think the question was how long to get them working versus the recruiting and the process you go through if you can use the reciprocity.
If we can use the reciprocity, we're looking at a 2-week orientation time frame in order to get these folks on board.
Versus the time that would take to train and someone, like what Assemblyman Carter said, recruit them from, the local communities.
Versus bringing them in under a 7-week academy.
Oh, so-
And the amount of money that we save on that is substantial.
7 weeks, so that's why I'm trying to get clear on the record. It's 7 weeks.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
7 weeks versus a 2-week.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you. And for the record, Senator Heidi Seifers answered again. And there's the actual process of getting someone or enabling someone to be qualified is much, much longer. And so maybe the deputy would like to expand on that.
Harold Wickham for the record, through the chair to the Honorable Assemblyman Nguyen. Currently, our recruiting process is incredibly convoluted, and we are working feverishly to get that corrected. But it takes sometimes 4 to 6 months to get a person through the qualification process, background investigations. This would alleviate that and allow us to put people on the ground in a much shorter time frame.
Thank you. And one final question. I was just wondering if this is something that was being done at other states too, if other states have already kind of begun the work of reciprocity for this.
For the record, Harold Wickham, to the chair, yes, this is done in many states across the nation, have reciprocity standards within their governing bodies.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Members, any additional questions? It doesn't appear there are any. At this time, I'll go ahead and invite anyone wishing to testify in support of SB 323. When you're ready, please begin.
Good morning, Chair Torres, committee members. Adrian Hunt, ADRIANHUNT. I'm representing Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. This bill would assist with recruiting Cat 3 officers to the state. We fully support SB 323. We want to thank Senator Gansert for bringing this bill forward. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Torres and committee members. I'm Drew Franklin of R&R Partners here representing the Nevada Sheriffs and Chiefs Association. We are in support of Senate Bill 323 and would like to thank Senator Gansert for bringing this bill forward. This bill will enhance our ability to recruit and help to bring qualified Category 3 officers into Nevada. We are in strong support. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see anyone in Las Vegas wishing to testify. BPS, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify in support of SB 323?
Chair, the line is open and working, but there are no callers choosing to provide support testimony at this time.
Thank you. Is there anyone wishing to testify in opposition to SB 323? I do not see any here in Carson City. BPS, I do not see any in Las Vegas. BPS, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify in opposition to SB 323?
Chair, there are no callers choosing to provide opposition testimony at this time.
Thank you. Is there anyone wishing to testify in neutral? I don't see any here in Carson City. I don't see any in Las Vegas. BPS, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify in neutral to SB 323?
Chair, there are no callers choosing to provide neutral testimony at this time.
Thank you. And at this time, I'll invite the bill sponsor for any closing remarks.
For the record, Senator Heidi Seifers Gansert. I want to thank the chair and committee members of the hardworking Committee on Government Affairs for processing or for looking at this bill today. I would appreciate your support. Thank you.
For the record, Harold Wickham, just want to once again thank the senators for bringing this bill forward and encourage your support. Thank you to the hardest working committee.
Benno Clark for the record. Thank you all. Ditto.
Thank you. I appreciate it. At this time, we can close the hearing on SB 323, and we will move on to the last item on our agenda, which is public comment. I don't see anyone here in Carson City, and I don't see any in Las Vegas. BPS, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify in public comment?
Chair, the line is open and working, but there are no callers choosing to testify in public comment at this time.
All right. At this time, members, any remarks? No? No remarks. Well, we do have a really important game today. If you did not know, we have the Assembly Senate softball game. So make sure you're there. Obviously, we'll be cheering for Team Assembly, something we can all share. Even Assemblyman MacArthur told me that he was going to show up. So he's considering playing, but He hasn't picked up a bat in quite a while, so we're not quite sure if he's going to be able to make it to the field. He might just be observing today. As a reminder to the committee, tomorrow we will have a work session as well as a bill. We did change the agenda, so instead of beginning at 10 a.m., we will be starting at 9 a.m. Also, and we will be in room 4100, which is a little bit more cozy. At this time, the meeting is adjourned.